In this video, let's start talking about LAN security concepts. In LAN security concept, there are 5 subtopics, which are the endpoint, security, access control, layer 2 security threats, bug address table attack, and the LAN attacks. And now, let's summarize them. In endpoint security, the news media commonly covers attack on enterprise networks. Simply search the internet or latest network attacks to find up-to-date information on current attacks. There are 3 current attacks, which are distributed denial of service, or what we call the DOS. Next one is the data breach, which this is an attack in which an organization's data server or host are compromised to steal confidential information. And next is the malware. And the example for malware are the ransomware such as WannaCry and the Trojan horses and many malicious software. Various network security devices are required to protect the network perimeter from outside access. These devices could include the virtual private network or VPN enabled router, a next generation firewall or the NGFW, and the network access control which is the NAC device. LAN devices such as switches, wireless LAN controllers or the WLCs, and the other access point devices, interconnect endpoints. Most of these devices are susceptible to the LAN related attacks that are covered in, but many attacks can also originate from the inside the network. If an internal host is infiltrated, it can become a starting point for threat actor to gain access to critical system devices, such as servers and sensitive data. Endpoints are hosts which commonly consist of laptops, desktops, servers, and IP phones, as well as employee-owned devices that are typically referred to as bring your own device or what we call the BYODs. Endpoints are particularly susceptible to malware-related attacks that originate through email or web browsing. These endpoints have typically used traditional host-based security features such as antivirus or anti-malware, host-based firewalls, and host-based intrusion prevention systems or the HIPs. However, today endpoints are best protected by combining of NAC host-based AMP software, an email security appliance or the ESA, and web security appliance which is WSA. The advanced malware protection, which is the AMP, products include endpoint solutions such as Cisco AMP for endpoints. The Cisco ESA is a device that is designed to monitor simple mail transfer protocol or what we call the SMTP. The Cisco ESA is constantly updated by the real-time feeds from the Cisco Talos, which detects and correlates threats and solutions by using a worldwide database monitoring system. Cisco Web Security Appliance or WSA is a mitigation technology for web-based threats. It helps organizations address the challenges of securing and controlling web traffic. The Cisco WSA combines advanced malware protection, application visibility and control, acceptable use policy controls and reporting. And in access control, there is an AAA component that stands for authentication, authorization, and accounting. The AAA concept is similar to using a credit card. The credit card identifies who can use it, how much that user can spend, and keeps an account of what items or services the user purchased. The authentication part of the AAA component stores users' usernames and passwords locally in a network device such as Cisco router. Users authenticate against the local database. The authorization is automatic and does not require users to perform additional steps after the authentication. Authorization governs the users can and cannot do on the network after they are authenticated. Accounting collects and reports usage data. This data can be used for such purposes as auditing or billing. The collected data might include the start and Stop connection times, executed demands or commands, number of packets, and number of bytes. A primary use of accounting is to combine it with AEA authentication. The AEA server keeps a detailed log of exactly what the authenticated user does on the service. This includes all exec and configuration commands issued by the user. The log contains numerous data fields including the username, the date and time, and the actual command that wasn't entered by the user. This information is useful when troubleshooting devices. It also provides evidence for when individuals perform malicious acts. And now let's proceed to Layer 2 security threats. Network administrator routinely implement security solutions to protect the elements in Layer 3 up to Layer 7. They use VPNs, firewalls, and IPs devices to protect these elements. However, if Layer 2 is compromised, then all layers above it are also affected. For example, if a threat actor with access point to the internal network captured Layer 2 frames, then all security implemented on the layers above would be useless. Then, security is only strong as the weakest link in the system, and Layer 2 is considered to be that weak link. This because its LANs were traditionally under the administrative control of a single organization who inherently trusted all persons and devices connected to our LAN. Today, with bring your own device and more sophisticated attacks, our LANs have become more vulnerable to penetration. And here are the layer 2 attacks. First one is the mock table attacks, next is VLAN attacks, then the HCP attacks, ARP attacks, address spoofing attacks, and lastly is the STP attacks. And when there is an attack, of course, there is a mitigation to prevent the attacks or the attackers. The attack mitigations are port security, DHCP snooping, dynamic ARP inspection, or what we call the DAI, IP source guard, or IPSG. Then, let's go to the MAC address table attack. MAC address table attack, or there are MAC address table flooding. All MAC tables have fixed size and consequently a switch can run out of resources in which to store MAC addresses. MAC address flooding attacks take advantage of this limitation by bombarding the switch with a fake source MAC address until the switch MAC address table is full. When this occurs, the switch threats the frame as an unknown unicast and begins to flood all incoming traffic out all ports on the same VLAN without referencing the MAC table. These conditions now allows threat actor to capture all of the frames sent from one host to another on the local LAN or local VLAN. Then the next MAC address table attack is the MAC address table attack. Since there are MAC address table attack, of course there will be mitigations too. To mitigate MAC address table overflow attack, network administrator must implement port security. Then let's go to the LAN attacks. A VLAN hopping attack enables traffic from one VLAN to be seen by another VLAN without the aid of a router. In basic VLAN hopping attack, the threat actor configures a host to act like a switch to take advantage of the automatic trunking port feature enabled by the default on most switch ports. There are VLAN double tagging attack, and since they are attack, of course, like what we say in the previous attacks, it will have the mitigation too. The mitigation for VLAN attack is to disable trunking on all access ports, disable auto trunking on trunk links so that trunks must be manually enabled. Be sure that the native VLAN is only used for trunk links. Then let's talk about DHCP attacks. The starvation attack, the HCP starvation attack, and the DHCP spoofing attack. Then the next one is the ARP attacks. The problem is that an attacker can send the gratuitous ARP message containing a spoof MAC address to a switch, and the switch would update its MAC table accordingly. Then, therefore, any host can claim to the owner of any IP and MAC address combination they choose. Then let's go to the address spoofing attack. MAC address spoofing attacks occur when the threat actors alter the MAC address of your host. Then the STP attack, attackers can make their hosts appear as root bridges and therefore capture all for the immediate switch domain. And that concludes the summary of our chapter 10.